got one that can see.
Where there's thunder, there's lightning. John Nada. Today we'll be talking about the Gospel of MGTOW. We are the voice shouting in the desert, make the road ready for MGTOW, preparing the way, spreading the message to all who would hear it. For we know that women have a hypergamous nature. We know that the female nature is one of deception, is one of self-preservation, is one of doing at all costs what is beneficial to them. And so, as a result, be alert, be vigilant, and be sober. For hypergamy and gynocentrism is as a roaring lion, seeking and going about whom they may devour. But MGTOW offers us a refuge. MGTOW offers us a cleft in the rocks. MGTOW is as an ark unto us from the storms, from the rain, from the rising water. Were it not for Berfault's law, we would not see the faults in modern day marriage and dating. Were it not for Berfault's law, we would not know what it is we were up against. We would not have an understanding. We would not have centeredness in this. For with the Mosaic law, it showed the shortcomings and the need for growth and introspection. Berfault's law shows us the truth, the reality of what it is that we're dealing with in modern day relationships and the nature that we're dealing with. MGTOW is the ark which saves us from divorce rape. MGTOW is the ark which saves us from false rape accusations, saves us from being depleted of our funds, saves us and maintains our sanity. It is MGTOW that helps us navigate the feminized and the gynocentric society that we live in now. With wisdom, with sense, with an approach that will help us miss the snares that have been set for us. It is MGTOW which saves us from false prison sentences for false crimes. It is MGTOW which allows us to maintain our freedom. It is the ark which sets us afloat and sets us a course to that freedom. It's unfortunate that many of us, though we hear this gospel, and though many have heard this gospel, few have come to the truth without having to experience the thorns of the darkness that is dealing with the modern dating world, dealing with modern female nature, dealing with female nature in general. Many of us have had to be that doubting Thomas who must feel and place his fingers in the wounds and see for himself the risen one. It is not enough to hear from our fellow men of the dangers and snares and traps that await. Many of us must experience these again as the doubting Thomas. We must be not only those that hear, but experience as well in order to understand and internalize the truths. And not only on one occasion, but perhaps many, depending on the situation, before we accept what is the reality. We cannot serve two masters. And essentially that's what that comes down to. Will you serve your female overlord? Or will you maintain your freedom and value your freedom and serve yourself? Will you do what is best for the gynocentric society? Will you do what is best for her hypergamy? Will you do what is best for family, but namely her family? Because at any moment, your family can be snatched from you, kicked from your own house, robbed of your own children. Or do you serve what is going to be in your best interest? And the prophets before spoke of this. Barbarossa, Stardust. And many did not listen then. It has only been in these last days, these days of thunder, that many are starting to see the truth. And their words are echoed through those after them and through their own words. There is an exodus and has been an exodus from this gynocentric Babylon. And that exodus takes us into the promised land. Now, not all of us will see that promised land because some will fall away by the wayside. The wheat will be separated from the chaff, and not all will enter into the promised land. The promised land being that of being debt-free, being in command of your own life, free from the bearings of child support, free from the bonds of alimony, free from the grip of the gynocentric hand of the government, squeezing every last drip and every last drop of toil, currency, and blood in order to prop up the overlord, the female overlord, to feed the hypergamous nature and the black hole of wants, the sarlacc pit of demands. No, the Exodus takes us away from Pharaoh into a promised land where the chains are broken and we are free to control our own destiny. But Rome does not like this counterculture. Rome sees MGTOW as the threat. Rome sees MGTOW as the insurgency with short knives, as the cult going about and rabble-rousing and stirring up the masses. And it is the Pharisees that work hand in hand with Rome. The Pharisees that white knight. The Pharisees that join in the name, shame, and blame game. The Pharisees that say you're not a real man if you don't do X, Y, or Z. It is the Pharisees who come in the form of the social justice warriors, but who also come in the form of traditional conservatives. The Pharisees that continue to tell you to accept the raw deal, that continue to tell you that the game has not changed, that all is well, your government is controlled, go back to sleep. The Manginas that work hand in hand with the gynocracy to keep a lid on things and to keep chains on otherwise free men. Society is deceiving you. It is society's deception that keeps you asleep while they live. It is society that tells you, you must get married, you must get this job, you must go to college, you must do all these things, otherwise you're not a real man or you're not a real human being, but a human doing. But no, you're a free and independent person. It is society that is lying to you. It is society that is trying to keep you lulled in your days. Society comes as the angel of light, puts the arm around the shoulder, and tells you all is well. And if they cannot convince you that all is well, they will shame you. They will shame you into pledging allegiance to their cause, and they will shame you into believing all is well. But MGTOW are men who cannot be shamed, because we do not define ourselves by the grandiosity of what society says is a real man, but rather we define our own path. We're men going our own way. We are men writing our own story and not looking for cues from society as to what to do next. So we cannot be shamed. We cannot be mocked. We cannot be convinced or deceived into going back into the plantation. We cannot be deceived. We cannot be misled into believing what we know is no longer true. And as it was in the past, Constantine, when he couldn't control the rabble-rousers, incorporated them, co-opted them, made them a part of his team, made them a part of society itself, and therefore controlled them. And the ones that couldn't be controlled, the ones that could not be co-opted, were thrown to the lions. And that is the stand that we make as MGTOW. There have been attempts to infiltrate. There have been attempts to co-opt. There have been these attempts to try to get us to serve two masters. There have been these attempts to squash MGTOW before it could grow, but yet all that it's done is make it grow even that much more exponentially. And so the good news, the gospel of MGTOW is that there is freedom. There is another way. Whereas before, there was only so many options, but with MGTOW, we have the answer. We have the way. We have something that we can cling on to, that ark in the water. Whereas before we were drowning, we've been tossed a rope and pulled up out of the murky depths. And it is MGTOW now that allows us to live life and live it more abundantly. We tell our brothers, we speak to our friends and family and our brethren about the truths that we found after having taken the red pill. And it is as in the days of Lazarus. Let me go. Let me warn my family. Let me tell my friends what is to come. But it would be even though as if one came back from the dead and were to tell them themselves, they still would not believe. And so as it is with us, we spread the message, we speak the truth, but not all will believe, not all will come onto the ark. We will be mocked, we will be persecuted, as those before have been mocked and persecuted, but we will continue to stand firm in what we know is the truth, because there is no turning back now. We have decided to follow MGTOW. There's no turning back and no turning away. And so the good news is that of freedom. The good news is that of peace of mind. The good news is that of there being a way other than that of the way of a slave. And so it is with that I end this message. It is my hope that others that have been in my position previously will learn the truth. Those that have been in the position I was before without knowledge, without wisdom, without a full scope and sense of what is really going on, it is my hope that they are enlightened and they get revelation on the subject and that they come join us in MGTOW. But I am of no false hopes or assumptions, because I know that we are a band of few, a merry band of few. This is not a populist movement. This is simply a group of people who have stumbled upon the truth through various different similar experiences. We're all going our own way. And however that may look for you, I wish you best of luck on that. I wish you happiness in that path, and that you continue to stand firm in the truths you found. This has been the Days of Thunder. I am John Nana, and remember, you're free to do as you're told.